Our very first guest on Aligned with Vyaksha, Shivaan Salligram, from finance and investment banking, working at top firms in New York, London, and Cape Town, to walking away from corporate and building a zero-to-landfill waste company, now leading one of KZN's fastest growing waste management businesses and representing Africa on global climate stages. Hi, I'm Vyaksha Singh and welcome to Aligned with Vyaksha. Today we have Shivaan Salligram, CEO of Waste Trans with us. Hi, Shivaan.
Hi, Lee. Thanks very much for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, before you say anything further, I want to just tell everyone where we are
Yeah.
because we are at one of the. I'm an animal person, so if you love animals, we're at one of the coolest places around. There's about 100 dogs that were outside as I was coming in. So yeah, do you want to give them the name?
So some of our homes are Dog Sanctuary, home to 99 rescue dogs.
Yeah, so this is the place to.
That's how we've been.
If you're an animal person, this is the place to be. Yeah, thanks for having me though.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule.
No, it's a pleasure.
You're a very busy man. Shivaan, tell me a little bit about your education background.
Okay, so I'm a Westville old boy, matriculated there and left to Cape Town to study at UCT, and then did a few other courses after that as well. So I specialized in finance and economics, did my honors in both. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, and in 2020, you made a huge change.
Yeah, correct.
From your successful corporate trajectory, you moved into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
In Durban.
Yeah, correct.
So, do you want to maybe explain what triggered that shift? Was it inner conviction?
Yeah. So it was a big change for me. I really enjoyed corporate life. I love the environment, the people, the comfort of it. So it was an awesome period of my life. But I think I always had that part of me that wanted to do something that was completely my own. And yeah, 2020 was the year I decided to take that jump. And I think a lot of the reason was from the support structure that I had. That made it a lot easier of a decision to make. My parents, my sister were all very supportive, but on top of that, I had a very good friend group. I had a friend Zain and Karishma. I have friends Zain and Karishma that own a company called Mia Healthcare. That's in the health and medical field, and they did it at a very similar time to me. So it was nice to have people along that journey, with me. Just trying to think, there were a few. I have another friend, Rasen, that's in Nkunzi Transport. So there's a couple of friends of mine that also took this leap.
That leap of faith.
Correct, yeah. And a lot of the entrepreneurs that I do know at the moment, they also have a similar story where they had like other people that they knew that were also doing it at a similar time. I think it helps with dealing with the pressure and the stress, and they've got a bit of like a camaraderie about it when there's more than when you know you're not the only one going through certain challenges. Correct, yeah.
Yeah, and just a side note, you spoke about your grandparents.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very interesting to include.
Yeah.
How your family has such a strong entrepreneur background,
Correct.
and was that also maybe something that helped give you the sort of confidence and maybe also knowledge?
Yeah, 100%. So my mom, my dad, they are also entrepreneurs, and I'm blessed to have all four of my grandparents still around, and they are also entrepreneurs, which is incredible. I think it was a little bit inbuilt that at some stage everybody does some business venture of their own. Yeah, that was a really huge part in helping me have the confidence to just take the jump and to do it. I think I was actually the first person in my family that worked for anyone, because everyone had previously started something from the bottom, and but yeah, built it up. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I also wanted to find out how you started, because starting something that's not in your field,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of guts as well to do something like that.
No, definitely. But a huge part of that for me was my dad. So my dad had done previous waste management work. He was involved in a lot of garden refuse waste services for many, many years. So he had that background. And then also, while I was working in corporates, I was fortunate to see a lot of other countries that, in fact, were zero to landfill already. So they don't dispose of anything in the way that our traditional waste disposal happens in South Africa. So that excited me because as soon as I saw what they're doing in Switzerland, in Singapore, in quite a few countries that don't have landfill sites, it gave me the idea that we have an untapped sector of our economy that essentially has to change. Because from a sustainability point of view, in my opinion, solar power and wind power and that kind of stuff for power generation is important. But I mean, South Africa is around 60 million population, I think now, and our primary source of disposal is landfill, which is pretty much putting it in a hole and covering it up. Yeah. So when you look at it like from that perspective, for me it was like a no-brainer that somebody has to do something different to try and get South Africa moving in the right direction when it comes to waste management.
Yes, I mean, I know Waste Trans is one of KZN's fastest growing integrated waste management
Correct.
companies.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
So I actually want to find out more. Can you tell us? I know you started 5 years ago.
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Six now.
6 years
correct,
ago
Yeah.
with one vehicle and 4 employees.
Correct, yeah. So at that stage it was SSI recycling. So Waste Trans does waste management services and recycling services. It then got amalgamated into the Waste Trans group, and we became fully fledged transport, recycling, on-site waste management, hazardous waste. So we cover basically every section of waste disposal as a group. So yeah, we grew significantly from that stage. I think we were largely focused on transport and disposal of waste, and then we pivoted as volume started increasing to processing the waste. So we recently just opened a 10,000 square meter facility in Jacobs in Durban South, and what we focus on there is basically bringing in different types of waste, different material, separating and segregating it into categories, and then baling this material and transporting it for recycling purposes. So I think how that helped the business grow was firstly from an employee's perspective. We moved from a transport company into a largely facilities and transport company. So our numbers shot up at that point from, I mean, we're close to 200 staff now at the moment. And it's a young workforce as well. So everyone's pretty much around, I think our average age of our employees is 32. So that's really awesome. I think that's why we got a very vibrant, very energetic workforce.
Enthusiastic, yeah.
Correct, yeah. So and that's something that's helped us with growth as well, especially when it comes to competing in the industry. I think we're very nimble, we move very quickly, and we adapt. Because the business model has pivoted about 5 times from when we started. Like as I said, it started originally as what Waste Trans was, transport and disposal of waste, to focusing on actually sorting this material. Yeah, the business basically it comes down to, if you had any random bin bag that's around, and if you had to look inside of the material, if you take out the paper, the cardboard, the plastic, the steel, or whatever, what is left? So and it comes down to food waste.
Yes.
And slowly now you are finding solutions for organic waste. So food waste falls under organic waste, like composting.
Yeah.
There's anaerobic digestion. There's quite a few different methods of handling organic waste, and that is pretty much where we are focusing on now, because that's the last section of waste management that we don't have a full solution for. KZN is a very fertile area, so the need for compost is not that necessary, which means we have to find other solutions.
I know you've gone overseas to a number of different countries, and you've experienced firsthand how they their waste management systems
Correct.
function.
Yeah.
And I want to know what did you maybe find fascinating,
Okay.
and which country was the most interesting?
That's a tough one. Okay, I'll come back to which country is the
Yeah.
most interesting. But what I liked about the field that we're in at the moment was that because our waste management systems in Durban is so, I don't want to say like a very early stage. As I said, it's just simply transport and disposal of waste. We were able to pick up pointers from each of the different countries, like small ones that could work here, because we have a unique economy, a unique makeup of our population. So you can't always just take a system that works in India and implement it here, or something from Singapore and implement it here, because our systems are very, very different. Correct, correct. So I went to Dharavi in India, which was very cool, like, about 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago. And that was interesting because they have a lot of solutions for non-recyclable plastics, like the making of benches and tables. And I've seen that in South Africa as well on a small scale. But it was interesting to see exactly how it's done. It's done overseas. Singapore, obviously, very advanced waste management system. I think something that's still holding us back here, which is why a lot of recycling programs in themselves don't work out, is the fact that we don't really separate at home. So, I mean, we're working at the moment very closely with the municipality to find different solutions to how we can separate waste before it gets collected, because contamination is a big thing. So, at the moment, if you don't separate your cardboard, your plastic, your metals, like your cans and stuff at home, it's being collected contaminated, because now you've got food waste mixed with all of that material, and then often that makes it non-recyclable. So we are looking at a mix basically of like third world dynamics, such as India, other countries in Africa. Kenya actually is quite advanced. They've actually got incineration plants now, so they're moving completely away from landfill as a strategy. There's a few other countries in Africa also that are taking that leap. So yeah, we're hoping to be part of South Africa, also moving correct, yeah, because we need some progressive movements in the space. And I think the population itself is eager to have a solution for it. Like when I speak to a lot of people who know about waste trans and what we do, they often say like, I recycle at home, but I don't really know what to do with it after that. So yeah, as I said, as we build scale, we've got a young workforce. They also are looking at like, what can we do for the norm for every person at home, to try and make it easier for them to get involved with recycling and waste. Because at the moment, I think it's very much for industrial companies, big corporates, commercial businesses, whereas for the individuals at home, there's still a lot of room for improvement. Yeah, because I think people are not. Do you think it's maybe they don't have the knowledge or the resources, like what to do, or like? So it's definitely that's definitely a big part of it. But I think also it's there's not enough backing from businesses that collect recyclables to support the residents that are eager to do it. I know we have the orange bag thing in Durban, but that's had very mixed results. So we're looking at a few things now. I know that there used to be, even at schools, so recently with KZN College, we're doing the recycling for them. We're doing some stuff at Maristella. So there's a number of schools that have privately contacted us, and we're doing the paper collection, the other recyclable collections, and they're actually making it a position in their school for like a prefect to be head of recycling or head of waste to try to reduce their impact. So they're slowly gaining traction, but still a lot of movement to go ahead. We are looking at the big projects like the ones I told you that are overseas, and seeing how we can replicate it in Durban. And we add an advantage because we're not trying to do something new here. This is happening overseas for like the last 10, 15, 20 years plus in some places. Like I know Japan has over 100, or I think it might be over like, I think it might be it's either 1,000 or 100 incineration plants active in the country. So that's obviously burning of waste for energy.
Oh,
So basically, we need to try to see which is the model that is the most
suitable.
suitable and easy to manage for our environment locally. Yeah.
Yeah, and would you think that an incineration plant would work here?
It would, but from a carbon footprint perspective, you got to do recycling before burning waste for power because the creating energy to make new products is not as what do you call it, like healthy on the environment as it would be to recycle cardboard itself back into cardboard. So you don't want to just jump to the easiest solution, which is just burning everything.
Yeah.
Whereas the best environmental method of managing the waste would be to recycle it completely to a point where whatever you're burning is non-recoverable material at all. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And this all this knowledge, the sustainability, I know you've got some from your dad, but
Yeah.
was it also like in you, were you passionate about the environment? What happened like
Yeah.
with
So I'm passionate about business, I would say. So for me, this was just something that it was a arbitrage opportunity in the market. It was something that has to happen here, and there was no real progression or movement. So you also born in Durban, so you know from when we were born to now, like the waste management practices are pretty much the same.
Yes,
And that's like a 20, 30 year period now. So I think there has to be progression in every industry, and I think we stagnated for a very long period of time. So this for me was an arbitrage opportunity to try get in. Obviously, the environmental, the sustainability side is also very appealing. But I mean, we are, as I said, we are coming from a finance background. So for me, it was a bit of both. It was a great sustainability opportunity and a great business opportunity together.
Yeah, wow. So now the in part of your alignment, do you believe that I know you're a change maker because that's what's happening. You're really gonna transform, and you've already been transforming. You know, the waste management industry in KZN. And how would that? Do you feel that that aligns with who you are? Maybe your spiritual purpose?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a side devotee. So I mean, yeah, recycling, waste management is a form of seva. Like in our senses, we have a thing called Go Green, as like a sector of the organization, which actually focuses on recycling, of trying to better ways of not only better waste management, but reducing waste as well. So I'm sure you heard the catchphrase reuse, reduce, recycle everywhere. So I think that definitely is something that we have to push harder in all religious organizations because at the end of the day, wastage is bad. And I mean, now with people ordering online and the ease of getting products to our door, you got more cardboard, more plastic, greater amounts of shipping being done. So it's necessary at this stage for, I think, everyone to, from their own perspective, do some level of recycling. So yeah, from my side, it does align on a spiritual level, and I think also anything that is helping the environment is positive. It is, yeah. I mean, you're not only impacting people's lives, but animals. You know, correct. It's helping everyone. What growth have you seen personally, personal growth that you've experienced from the time you started? You know, maybe your corporate journey, and what shifts have you noticed? Whether it's personality, whether it's like something in you has changed. Yeah. You know, like I am making a difference kind of thing. Like correct, yeah. So I would say a big part for me was probably so I do a lot of humanitarian work, a lot of different server projects. So when you start on the entrepreneurial journey, I found that you have to try and not be too negative or too or like only focus on the negatives because there's a lot of them. And there's a lot of difficult moments, a lot of hardships that you'll face along the way. So I think I told you previously, like I had done stuff with the UN, different please. different volunteer projects and also different representation projects. When I was in school, I was part of that Global Leadership Council. So we did a lot of traveling around the world and we visited a lot of very difficult environments. And I think there, like especially in South Africa, when I started, we still had load shedding at that stage. But for me, it wasn't something that really affected me because I'd been to places that haven't had power for like 10 years. And everyone's carrying on with their businesses, they're carrying on with their lives, they adapt, they move on. So, from a personal level, I think as I started, even though the first 6 months, first year was very difficult, I tried to focus on the positives. And then, so I mean, even if you get 4 or 5 negatives that do occur, if you have 10 positives, you got to look at those and try and figure out a way to around any of the difficult moments that come up. And the municipality is also very strict on landfill. So they tell all the waste companies that you can only dump X amount percentage of your material that you collect, which forces them to have recycling programs in place. KZN doesn't have that. So for me, it was a place almost to get in early before this starts becoming a common thing, and it is slowly starting to happen now. You're looking at people trying to and waste companies trying to enforce recycling on a higher level. Other advantages that we had was I know you mentioned earlier like how many people like how many vehicles we were running. As I said, by the end of 2020, it was about 2 or 3 and about 6 or 7 staff at that stage. Then we got COVID that hit. So I know a lot of my friends and a lot of my corporate people that I worked with at that stage were actually a little bit worried. They were just like, "Do you want to?" I actually had offers for for jobs back at the places I was working with for because they assumed now this was gonna disturb the balance of what we were trying to do. Fortunately for us, waste tripled overnight because people started using everything once. So COVID actually it was a blessing in disguise. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, obviously it was a devastating thing for the world, but for our business specifically, it was you have to say an advantage from an economic point of view. It also allowed us to fast track our growth. So when I originally started, I had like a 5 year plan, a 10 year plan, and a 15 year plan that like we like targets we wanted to reach at each stage. Um, an event like that, a shock event like that, helped us to get to like where we thought we want to be in year 5 in within 6 months. Wow. Correct, yeah. And then as you said previously, like I initially also had the question that you had about was Durban the correct place to do it or not. So after COVID finished, and we got into a stage where we were running about 4 or 5 vehicles, and I think we had maybe 20 people with us at that stage. We got looted, and we were the waste service provider for a large number of the shopping malls that were around, especially in the Durban South region, a lot of the businesses. So we did the cleanups for a majority of these places. So again, a shock event that was good. Was good for us from an economic point of view, because now we had huge amounts of cleanups to do at all of these different places. There was a huge amount of construction that had to reoccur, and right now I'd say we pretty much are the biggest waste construction firm in definitely in KZN. From a builder's rubble processing perspective. So again, as I said, on your entrepreneurial journey, you get these shock events. It's about how you see them. Was it a positive thing or was it a negative? We never really panicked. We obviously were fortunate not to have our depots and yards affected by either of the events. So losing wasn't specific to KZN, but we were definitely the hardest hit province. So yeah, we did a lot of the insurance work as well, where we did the cleanups for a lot of these places. Correct, and it was largely because our pricing was so favorable because of our method of not dumping everything or not disposing of everything at landfill, of doing some form of waste minimization. We were able to positively impact clients by charging them lower fees because we were recovering material and able to sell this off instead of just disposing everything and paying a high disposal fee. So then 6 months after that, so at that stage we got to probably where our 10 year goal was, because we had two like really big shock events that occurred. then Durban got flooded.
Yes.
So this was all in a 2 year period,
Yeah.
18 months, 2 year period that Durban got COVID, had looting, had flooding, and these were unique to our city as well. So you
Yeah.
asked before, like, I mean, the rest of the country never got flooded. So we actually did a huge amount of cleanup work at that stage again. So I mean, we had reached our 15-year goal after 3 years. So that's really helped us get to a level that gave us a base that we're able now to look at basically not only what is financially best for the company, but what for our city as a whole is the best thing. And that's why I touched on the school programs earlier with the paper collection and the skips for recycling for students. That's allowed us to do projects like that because we have a bigger base that we're working on. Because largely those are very break-even, non-profitable projects, but it's allowing students access to a form of recycling, especially in places with high paper volume. And a large amount of students working in the same place. We're doing it at DUT. We just got a contract for King Edward Hospital that we started about 3 weeks ago. So the entire hospital, we're doing all the paper recycling, all the cardboard recycling. So these are projects that I think if you were in an early stage in your business, you can't really do them because it's a very high cost to send people out, collect all this material, provide the resources to the hospitals or schools to actually collect it and bring it down to a certain area. And then obviously we got to have enough vehicles to every day go out, collect this, bring it to our depot. But with scale and with volume, we're able to do it at this stage now. So yeah, so Durban was a questionable area to probably start, but I mean now I don't think there's any other place that would have given us the level of growth that we've achieved now. Yeah, at this stage. Wow. Yeah, I can see it's like Durban was meant. Yeah, correct. You're meant to be here. Correct. Yeah. So we're blessed to. I mean, that's where I think spirituality comes in a little bit. Yeah. Like obviously during the difficult periods in the first couple of months or first year of starting, you're just like, should I have done it in a different city? Should I have tried it in London or Cape Town or whatever? And then I think all those questions got answered for me, and yeah, 100% Durban was the place. Yeah. And so, would you think of expanding? I mean, is expanding globally in the works? So I think across the continent would probably be the long term. Correct. And as I said, because of my background in banking and finance, I do have access to people that have already come through, flown down from overseas, looked at our whole process. Our new facility that opened, we actually had guys from various funding organizations around the world that have come and had a look because now they are seeing when you spoke about incineration before, it's not just as simple as just throwing everything in and burning it. It has to be prepared in a certain way, the waste. Like, you got to bring it, you can't just put bin bags in, it's got to be compressed, baled. You got to check a thing called calorific value, and it gets quite technical. Yeah. So them seeing us prepare waste and sort waste in a certain way has made those opportunities possible now. So would we expand 100%? That is one of the goals for the future. But we wanna take KZN Zero-to-Landfill first. Yes. And then replicate that model. So, yeah, province to province, country to country. SADC region, Namibia, Botswana would probably be the easiest places, and we've spoken to people there already. So hopefully that's a medium term goal at this stage. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna grow exponentially. You already had blessings, in the starting phases. Right. So I'm sure more will come. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, but I also want on your humanitarian side. Yeah. I know you served for 2 months in Syria and Palestine. Yeah. So do you want to maybe elaborate because that is a life-changing experience? Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So you see, all of these things probably have slight effects, probably on our on how successful we've been at a current stage, but also probably in the way it affects your thinking. Yes. So I had done stuff throughout from 10, 11 years old. Well, firstly, as I said, my parents are side devotees as well, so they're involved in several humanitarian projects my whole life. When I was about 12, 13, I started with the Global Leadership Council. So we did certain basic projects in countries like Belgium, in Vienna, in Austria. We went to Munich, and this was all while I was like primary school, high school, senior primary, yeah, senior primary and high school. So basically, I was getting the opportunity to travel on my own to all these countries. But we were doing basic stuff like tree planting and going to different camps where there were like a lot of children that were like refugees, that kind of work. And then obviously it developed after I matriculated, because now you're a young male or you're an adult, and adults sort of at that stage. The Palestine and Syria, so it was Gaza and Damascus. One happened in, I think it was 2019. Yeah, I think it was about 2019. So just about a couple of months, a year before I started the entrepreneurship journey. And that's where I said it definitely had a big impact, because you were able to see a population of people that were that didn't have a lot, but they were perfectly, I wouldn't say fine with it. They were fully aware of the challenges that they had, but the happiness of the people to an extent was sometimes better than I experienced even down here, where we have so much at our disposal. Like, I mean, everyone was just going on with their day-to-day stuff, just going on with their life. And I mean, a lot of those areas had no power, high shortage of food. So we were largely with the refugees. It was a UN humanitarian crisis relief group that we were with. And so you were largely at the camps of people that had been pushed out to different areas. Like, you know, if there was activity happening in the region they were, then they'd put them in camps like outside on the outskirts of those areas. So we were largely in those places. But as much as we're talking on the entrepreneurship journey, there were people that were there who were like medical doctors, highly successful individuals that had been serving there for years now in those camps. So they also basically pivoted from things from a financial gain to doing something that helps people. So as I said, it's everyone's own journey, even you as well. I mean, you do a lot of public benefit stuff, a lot of humanitarian work with your animals, correct, with your animals and pets. So everyone has an impact in their own way. And I think when I was there, I was able to come back and be able to say that, listen, there's people that are plastic surgeons that could be earning any amount of money that they want in a first world country. Like I knew two girls that were there. They were both plastic surgeons from New York. Wow. And they'd been serving in Gaza at that stage for like 3 years. And they just felt that they couldn't go back to doing plastic surgery work with people when they were fixing like problems of people that had no other option on the side. So they were originally also going to be there only for the certain period that I was there, I think maybe 2 to 3 months, and they had just continued. They just chose to stay, and yeah, they were in their early 30s at that stage. Yeah, I think that was very motivational. Yeah. And when I came back, that also allowed me to be a lot more free in terms of like, you know, when it came to taking risk, I was like, these people have already, they're not even in a position where they can take any risk. So we have to take advantage of like our setting and our environment. So yeah, as I said, even when choosing between Durban or Cape Town, imagine you were someone who's in Ukraine now. It doesn't really matter what city you're in, whatever. You have to make the most of where your environment, correct, what you have, your environment, and the fact that you actually have the opportunity to do so. Yes, and I know that with the whole, you know, humanitarian side and stuff, and what you experienced, that also probably taught you, you know, a lot of gratitude. It showed you, and a lot of compassion. Yeah. And I'm sure those were values that were already instilled in you, but it really like showed you real life experiences, you know, like what people, like you mentioned, what they go through. They go about their daily, you know, correct, operations with so little, and yet they so cheerful and grateful for what they have, and yet we have so much, and we don't appreciate. So from when I got back from that, 3 months later, I left. I was at Investec at the time. 3 months later, I left Investec and started the business. So was that like? I think so. Yeah. It was a bit of. I might as well risk it all, because there's people who have absolutely nothing that also are taking big risks in their life. I mean, we are very fortunate to be in the positions we are. So to not take advantage of it is in my, at that stage I was viewing it as like almost not making the most of your blessings. So yeah, so I left it 3 months after that. So did it have an impact? Definitely. Yeah. From a risk perspective as well, everyone's situation is different. Um, I mean, we were talking earlier where we said it's not always easy for somebody to not have an income on a month-to-month basis. Yes. And if you start your own business, you're probably not going to have that from probably the first whole year, if you're lucky. So when you go to places where you see people that don't even have the opportunity to take any risk, it became a lot easier for me just to make those decisions. I think also being like being not being young, being single, and not having a family also allowed me to take more risk. You don't have so much additional responsibility. 100%. Like I have some friends that have some fantastic ideas, some like beautiful passions, and I don't want to say that it's something that you can't do if you are tied up or if you have a family or anything, but their ability to take risk is nowhere near where mine is. You know, I've lived on my own since I was 17. Like I went to boarding at university, and then I was lucky to work at good jobs. So like I had accommodation. I was in apartments and stuff from then. So whereas some of my friends now, are tied down to a specific city because they may be already married and have kids, and that's where it comes down to how early you can make this decision if you really want to do something on your own. In my opinion, the earlier the better, because the risk is less. Once you are married, once you do have kids, you have to take them into consideration as well. So for me, I was a little bit like a one man soldier. I could just do my own thing. You can move and I could be nimble and just basically follow opportunity. And that's eventually what I did do. And even now as well, in business, I can take way higher amounts of risk, because if you lose it all, you start again. Whereas for other people, if you've got a family that's obviously relying on your income, you need a safety net. You need a safety net. Correct. Yeah. Wow. And your advice for young entrepreneurs and students in KZN specifically, what would you give them? I know you're saying, the younger, the better, I saw a good way, I saw a quote quite recently, which is like probably an interesting way where they put it, where they were like, on average, everyone in their life has like 75 summers, 75 springs, 75 autumns. Like, if you live on the average of 75 years. So, I mean, if you spend your first 25 learning stuff, developing yourself, figuring out what you want to do, and hopefully, we can spend the last 25 traveling and, exploring the world, or at your old age, I mean, hopefully not working too hard at that stage. So you've essentially only got that, so what's that, 50 years out? You've only got 25 in the middle. So 25 summers, 25 springs, 25 autumns. So, and that time goes quick. So I mean, we already into that 25. We're already eating into those 25 years in the middle period that you have. So in my like, if I had to give any advice, it's probably to make the most of that time, because years go by so quickly now. Before you know it, you're probably already 10 years into that period in which you need to be performing at a very high level. And so I'm fortunate, I think, when it comes to discipline and time, I've never had when we were younger, would be Mixit or BlackBerry. I've never ever had any of that stuff. Wow. I've got Facebook, but I don't have it. When I started my business, I deleted Instagram. I don't have distractions. Correct. Anything, because even that, like, I mean, if you're on it for 15 minutes a day, 5 times a day, that's like over an hour. It adds up over time. So also, so those distractions were probably, like, which I know a lot of other people who are friends of mine probably face regularly. I never really had any of those. Even now as well, I was telling you recently, I just got a new house. Yes. And congratulations. Thank you, thanks very much. I don't have a TV in the house. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I
That
know
is
because I mean I watch whatever I want to on my laptop, and I'm gonna get a TV, but it's gonna be for sports only. So I don't really watch TV series, movies, that kind of stuff. Not because I don't want to or anything like that. It's just that really I don't have the time to.
yes.
And also, if I start something, I'm not going to finish it like a series or anything because like I can't spend like an hour a day every day doing that when you've got so many other small things going on. Because like a business is a bit like a baby.
Yes, it is.
You can't really leave it, so you can't. So when I'm having downtime, I prefer to be distraction free. Like I'll go somewhere. I travel a lot, so I prefer to do stuff like that. So I mean, not having those small daily distractions allow me to have that like 2 week period where I just
experiences.
correct where I just can just disappear and do something. I mean, can't fully disappear to be on my phone all the time, but where you can get away and experience something. Whereas I think if I had those daily distractions, I wouldn't have that capacity to have that free time to experience something fully. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know an entrepreneur, being one, it's very consuming. Yeah. Like you mentioned.
100%.
And you need a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you were saying that you've been this disciplined since you were young.
Well, yeah. So I was like I played for the South African squash team when I was young. So I
Yes,
think
you were
all of
very
those.
great in academics as well as sports.
Yeah, so I tried. I think that's from my parents' side. I think they very disciplined themselves. So I mean, anything I did, I generally had like a goal, a target,
Yeah.
work towards it slowly. So yeah, you asked earlier what would be the one tip for any entrepreneur. It'll definitely be discipline.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, and I told you I have a lot of friends that, or like now acquaintances in the business world of people who have started their own businesses. The most common trait of all of them who are very successful is probably discipline. They don't like stray from their purpose, and I mean, I'm definitely not very good at it at all. I go out, I have my fun, I do stuff. So I mean, I can definitely have room to improve on it. But in general, I'd work very early every day. I start early. I try to eat as well as I can. So you just keep these small routine things that happen along the way that create a level of discipline.
Yeah.
I have periods. So when we were going through, when I told you COVID, losing,
Yes,
flooding,
yes.
those 6 months there, I had like very, very high level of discipline. Like I was at work at 5 o'clock, zero distractions. So I don't think you have to be disciplined your entire life, but when like pressure moments come or opportunities arise, you have to lock in and to make the most of it. Because there's other people that are also going to be doing that. So I mean, if you are straying at any level from your purpose,
You're gonna miss
correct. So these people are going to run circles around you. Especially those people who are very disciplined. And yeah, so I even have friends that businesses are maybe not where they wanted to be now, but I have no doubt probably is going to get there because of their work ethic, their discipline. So when something pops up for them, guaranteed they're going to make the most of it. So yeah, one trait, probably discipline, yeah.
And what would a day look like in your life? I mean, do you work Monday to Sunday?
Yeah, we open 7 days a week.
And you are that involved in your business?
Yeah, so it's unfortunately like as each year I'll probably say I'm gonna step away slightly more from this, but then new opportunities come in, and I mean because our whole workforce in general are very go getters, very the people we've hired are very energetic. I mean they bought into my idea, a lot of them, like they of what my business plan is, what the model is, where we want to get to. So I sort of have responsibilities to them as well. You know, we can't really slow down or move away from our thing, or from what our plans are. So they're relying on me also, you know, getting them to that
So
level.
you're carrying people on your back.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So I mean, at this stage, a lot of them are also contributing in a big way to our growth, to our success. So I mean, we've got a lot of, as I said, very young people that are adapting, moving with our industry, and taking us, giving us the ability to reach bigger targets, bigger goals. But yeah, it definitely does draw a lot from you. Time management is probably also another key thing, and I have a lot of room to improve when it comes to time management. So when you have too many things open and you got to have, but then it comes back to discipline as
Yeah,
well.
they go hand in hand.
Correct. So that's the reason actually that I wake up early and I try to get my diet and try to go to gym and do all of these small tasks, is because you think clearer
Yes.
when things happen. If you're up earlier, you can sort problems out earlier. Instead of it being like, late in the night where you're sitting and you're trying to do stuff, which still often has to happen. But I mean, if you manage your time better, you can definitely become more successful than if you don't. Yeah.
And your diet and your exercise, that's very important.
It is. So it's it's, I think it's specific to each person individually. So if I had to look at like what 2026, where my goals are, I back our business model. I back the group of staff that we have, and the strategy and stuff that we put in place is, in my opinion, gonna do well irrespective. But for me to be at the highest level, to be able to deal with the daily problems, to push, it's the small things that make it tolerable for me. So, say if I had a target to, I'm just gonna throw a number out, like say I wanted to reach 1 million sales by like the end of this year, new business sales, whatever. Just an example for a figure. If I had to break it down, because our business model, I feel will attain that because of everything else that we put in place already. It would come down to me basically on your personal level. Are you waking up early? Are you eating well? Are you going to gym? Because those small stuff allow you to be a little bit more switched on. Because you can really lose it when you start losing those small. And I've had periods, by the way, in the last 5-6 years where I haven't done that kind of stuff, and you completely fall apart. Because you're unable to manage the stress, you're unable to manage the chaos, then you don't handle situations as well as you probably should have. And as much as it sounds silly, like those are small things, they have absolutely nothing to do with us reaching 1 million new sales. It actually does.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So-
I diet and exercise, they all contribute also to mental health, to
100%.
keep you,
To keep you sane. Yeah.
Yes, to keep you sane.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
And that's something I think anyone can relate to if they've tried it.
Yeah, and that's not only a business related thing too. I think that's just for anybody in life. It is a good thing to have. Obviously, you have your periods where you go out, you have fun, and it does affect that whole rhythm and cycle, and I have those often. But getting it as close as you possibly can to that over long term is the way to go. So you got to look at things, I think, over like a longer period. You can't say, oh, I had a very bad week, and that was, like if you have 2 or 3 good weeks in the month, you had a good month. And if you've had 7 or 8 good months in the year, you had a good year. So you just got to try and win as many as you can.
And be as positive as you can.
Correct, yeah, because you're not going to get it right every single week or every single month. So it's about, I think, overall getting it correct.
I think that's an important point, because everyone thinks that to be successful and to do something, you need to get it right every single time.
100%.
And I think that's actually unrealistic.
It's unrealistic, and it's I don't think it's possible.
No.
Even
we're humans at the end of the day.
correct, yeah. I make bad decisions probably every day, but it's the amount of good decisions you make. That's as long as I make 10 good ones, doesn't really matter about
and you learn from the mistakes.
Correct, yeah. So that's another important thing, is that I think you have to put your ego aside.
Yes.
And even for me as well, even though I did finance and economics, I'm learning things in finance and economics on a day-to-day basis from business that I didn't know at all from anything I've studied.
Your experience on
Correct. So if you come in there with attitude that, okay, I know about this, no, it's a very bad way to go. And that's where I'm fortunate with my dad and my mom. So a lot of those small things that they took maybe years to learn, they even told me about, and so I could skip that learning period sort of, because they told me, like, you can't be arrogant, you can't have an ego, you can't think you know something. Even in ways, I approach every situation, every person I speak to uniquely, because I'm learning every day something new from anyone in the industry, from the people who work for us, our clients, and other companies in the industry. You never know it all, and I think the people who probably think they do, over a long term, it's hard to be successful
Yeah, I
with
think
that
that's actually
attitude.
a very important point for young
Correct.
entrepreneurs, you know.
Yeah.
You need to put your ego aside for
100%.
that.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yeah, because I mean, you're gonna have to be willing to learn
Yeah.
and to accept that, like, you know, you don't know everything. It's
Yeah.
only normal.
Yeah.
I think that's actually, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
brilliant point.
Yeah, and it becomes so broad as well because there's finance that's involved in business, there's tax, there's
Yes.
legal stuff. So you can't know
Everything.
Yeah,
Too
yeah.
many
You'll be lucky if
aspects.
you know 10% of each section, and then you got to pray that you have the right people around you
Yes.
and the right information around you to help you fill the gaps to know the rest of it. There are like organizations and stuff for entrepreneurs that you can join.
Yes.
So obviously the initial learning period, you have to it's trial and error, you know, because you don't have the credibility to get into any of these circles or groups really.
Yes.
As I said, I was at an advantage because I had a number of people that I was very close to also start businesses, and they're all actually relatively successful themselves at this stage, at the similar time to me. But yeah, there's a thing called EO, which I'm part of. It's called Entrepreneurs Organization. It's a global group.
And they have a base in
They have a Durban.
KZN?
They have a Durban. They have a Durban based. I think it's Durban, Cape Town, Joburg. We
Yeah.
fall under EMEA region, so it's Middle East, Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the global region that we fall under. And the barriers to entry are quite high, but that's what makes it really a really unique organization. Because there, I speak to people that I learn from like daily because they've done all the stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's about $2 or $3 million turnover you gotta have,
Wow.
and you gotta own to get in, and you have to own 51% of the company. But if there is anyone that is probably looking to scale their business, I would think that for me was a huge turning part in from the learning perspective, because now you could actually get around the table with people that have already done what you
experience.
correct, and a lot of them now have companies that are worth hundreds of millions, and these small problems that you think that are embarrassing that only you are experiencing, you see people that have companies worth 500 million with the same problem, and then you can at least speak to someone on how they overcame it, or what the challenges were that they had, and sometimes they went through 2 or 3 things to get to the solution, and by them telling you that now, you can sort of skip those.
Proactive.
Yeah, correct, and you can skip that learning part and then just get yeah, correct, a solution to it, correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so look into that later on if anyone is an entrepreneur, it helps you to scale up.
Yeah. And any other suggestions, advice that you'd like to give for young individuals?
I think if you have an idea, run with it. As I said, be bold, and you have less time than you think.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't sit and dwell and think about it because like 2-3 years pass like that. So probably run with your thing, especially as I said, while your risk is lower.
Yes.
As you get kids, as you get married, as you get into relationships, your ability to risk it all diminishes. Not for everyone, just in general. In general, that is the case. So I would say run with it, and then yeah, I haven't seen someone who is disciplined or has good time management for an extended period of time not eventually fall on something that makes them successful. Yeah. So if you don't have that idea or you don't have the business yet, try and get that stuff sorted in your life, and then let the rest of the chips fall together. Yeah. Wow.
Thank you so much,
It's a
Shivaan,
pleasure.
for that insightful and very informative talk and
Awesome.
that
Thanks for
advice.
having me as well.
Wealth of knowledge as well.